अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। साक्षाद्धरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रैरुक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्यः प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दम्। यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्याप्रसादान्न गतिः कुतोऽपि ध्यायन्स्तु वंस्तस्य यशस्त्रिसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरोः श्रीचरणारविन्दम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। सर्वेभ्यो नमः. To do a quick recap of where we are now, we are listening to the Dashama Skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in the second chapter, and Sri Bhagavan has manifested himself in Vasudeva's mind. Subsequently, Vasudeva transfers him to Devaki's womb. Then Devaki's appearance becomes significantly different. She becomes very bright. There's a glow about her, and Kamsa can see her as different, and he can then reason out that his enemy, in his perception, enemy, the eighth child of Devaki, has appeared in her womb. And he is tempted to actually kill her because of that, but he thinks that if I kill her, then my reputation will be damaged. I will become unpopular and people will curse me, and there is no point living a life like that. So let me wait for the baby to be born and then kill the baby itself. So immediately after this, we hear how uh, the devas, they're headed by Brahma, Shiva, and along with great sages, they all come and they offer Stuti to Sri Krishna, who is in the womb of Mother Devaki. So today's class is about Stuti. What is meant by Stuti and why is Stuti offered? Why does Bhagavan accept Stuti? So we begin with this question. Just think of an instance when you turned to God and you prayed, "Oh my God, please help me. Please get me out of trouble." It's possible that each of us has done this at least once in our life and perhaps many times. Now, think of this question. Do we connect with God even when there is no trouble? How often do we do that? Do we at all turn to God when there is apparently no reason to? There's no trouble, there's no requirement. So, this is where the idea of stuti comes in. Stuti, or you can say praise of God, it's different from asking for relief from trouble. Stuti is completely different. It is not about turning to God when there is trouble. Stuti is different. What is it? Now you can see the devas, Brahma, Shiva, and others, they come and offer stuti. What are they saying? There are 15 shlokas in Bhagavatam. What is the content of these 15 shlokas? What comprises stuti? That is what we will look at today. We saw the first 5 shlokas in the last class. I will quickly go through them. As I go through them, I want you to pay attention to what is covered, the content. What are they describing? And then I'll do the 10 shlokas for today, 10 or 12 shlokas. And then at the end, we will ask again the same question. What exactly is stuti and why do we do it? So in the last class, we began with this shloka when the stuti began. Satyavratam satyaparam trisatyam satyasya yonim nihitam cha satye satyasya satyam rita satyanetram satyatmakam tvam sharanam prapannaha. As we saw, this shloka describes Sri Bhagavan, God, in terms of his qualities using the word Satya or Sat. From the word Sat comes Satya. And in terms of that word Satya, Sri Bhagavan's properties or attributes are described in different ways. How he is committed to the truth, how truthfulness is a means to attain him, how he exists in all the 3 phases of time before material creation, during its sustenance, after its destruction, how he is situated inside all living beings, and so on. Everything is described in terms of the word Satya. Ekayanoऽसौ द्विफलस्त्रिमूलः चतुरसः पञ्चविधः षडात्मा Saptatvagashtavidapo navaksho Dashachadi In this shloka, we described how the samsara, the material existence, is explained using numbers. It's a very creatively composed shloka using numbers from 1 to 10. From 1 to 9, he describes, or 1 to 10, he describes 10 different aspects of material existence, from the most subtle to the most gross, as is listed in this slide. Then he ends by saying there are two birds, the individual Jivatma, that's each one of us, and the Paramatma. They are on this, or they are in this material existence, which is likened to a tree here. And they sit on this tree and they experience everything. One of them is witnessing the other. The Paramatma witnesses the Jivatma going through material existence. So then why is this described? Because after all, Stuti is a praise of Bhagavan. So how is this a praise of Bhagavan? In the next shloka, we saw how Tvameka evasya sataf prasutis tvam sannidhanam tvam anugrahascha tvanmayaya samvritachetasastvam pashyanti nanana vipaschitoye. So here, the material existence is described as something that's inferior to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is beyond that. God is the origin of this material creation as well as maintainer and the sink. But in material existence, we are covered by Maya and we see him in different ways. We don't understand him in truth. So, one way in which we see him as three different entities, Rudra, Brahma, Rudra, Vishnu, we think they are three independent entities. But here, the Devas explain that it's actually one person. The same person appears in three different ways. बिभर्षिरूपाण्यवबोध आत्मा क्षेमाय लोकस्य चराचरस्य सत्वोपपन्नानि सुखावहानि satamabhadrani muhuhu khalanam. So he appears in this material existence. Although he is pure consciousness, he is beyond it. Using his own strength, he appears here for the welfare and maintenance of the living beings here. And his appearance brings happiness to the saintly people and misery to the wicked people. त्वय्यम्बुजाक्षाखिलसत्त्वधाम्नि समाधिनावेशितचेतसैके त्वत्पादपोतेन महत्कृतेन कुर्वन्ति गोवत्सपदं भवाब्धिम्. So it goes on to explain how Sri Bhagavan or God is the refuge of those who are situated in pure sattva, the great saintly people, those who are aspiring for perfection of life. So for them, he is the shelter. It begins by describing him as somebody with beautiful eyes. His eyes are just like soft, beautiful lotuses. Such a personality, he is the refuge of those in pure sattva. And in samadhi, their consciousness completely absorbed in him. They take refuge in his feet, his lotus like feet. Here, the feet are compared to boats. Why are they compared to boats? Because keeping them as their supreme objective, as their supreme, object of meditation. The feet of Sri Bhagavan are the supreme object of meditation. Because of that, this whole material existence, which is like an ocean, samsara means samsara sagara, it's an ocean. So they make this ocean just like the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. It becomes as easy as that. Therefore, whatever suffering, ambiguity, confusion that seems to be there becomes easy to cope with, easy to handle. Okay, that's the meaning of saying that you convert the ocean of material existence into the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. You make it so easy to cross over. For a person who is in that state of consciousness, there is tremendous amount of inner strength. And because of their inner strength, even what appears to be very difficult to most people appears to be something that they can easily cope with. They can easily handle it without getting confused, without panicking, without feeling fear, and so on. That's the meaning of this. So, these five shlokas we saw in the last session itself. And in this, you can see how different aspects of Bhagavan connecting with him, of this material existence, and of his bhakta is described. A similar discussion continues in the shlokas that we are going to see today. The 31st shloka is like this Swayam samuttirya sudustaram dyuman bhavarnavam bhimamadabrha sauradaha भवत्पदाम्भोरुह नावमत्र भवत्पदाम्भोरुह नावमत्रते निधाय याता सदनुग्रहो भवान्. This shloka describes how God actually, when He wants to give His blessings to others, He does not directly do it. He does it through His bhaktas, those who have already taken His refuge, because they are genuine well wishers, just like Him. When He wants to give His kindness, His compassion, and His help to everybody in this material existence, He does it through the bhaktas because they have the same quality as Him. What is that quality? That quality of being genuine well wishers of others. Because they genuinely wish well for others, He engages them and they have already taken refuge in Him. So, through them, He gives His compassion to others. So, when we want His compassion, we can go to His bhakta. And by going to His bhakta, we get His compassion. His kindness comes to us. यन्येरविन्दाक्ष विमुक्तमानिनस्त्वय्यस्तभावादविशुद्धबुद्धयः आरुह्य कृच्छ्रेण परं पदं ततः पतन्त्यधोनाधृतयुष्मदङ्ग्रयः. This is one of the prominent shlokas in Bhagavatam. It is cited often by scholars to explain how sometimes people on the path of spiritual progress who are looking for spiritual advancement and overcoming the material existence, discovering the spiritual identity, they do not take refuge in Him in the way in which the bhaktas take refuge in Him. Because of their spiritual practices, of the tapasya that they do, arhya krichrena means with krichra tapas, with great difficulty, they reach a state of pure existence. They do enormous amount of tapasya, dhyan, vrata, etc., much more than the bhaktas do in the path of bhakti. So this is the path of jnana marga. So by doing that, they reach a very great state of existence. And when they want to get mukti, they turn to Him. And at that point of time, some of them they think that God after all is just an imagination. I myself am God. I'm not different from God. So I imagine that there is a form called Krishna, there's a form called Rama. This is just to help me to fix my mind. In reality, there is nothing separate called Krishna, Rama. These are all imaginary objects. We create a beautiful form called Krishna, another beautiful form called Rama, etc., etc. And there is nothing like that, really. So he says in the shloka that people who think like this, they, even after reaching a great stage of something very close to liberation, they're almost liberated from material existence, or maybe they have become liberated. But because of this offense, this is an offense against Bhagavan, to think that Bhagavan and his forms are imaginary. There's no separate thing called Bhagavan. I myself am Bhagavan, and now in this state of liberation, I'm experiencing that. They think like that. So it's called Vimukta Maninaha. The first line you will see this word Vimukta Mani. Vimukta Mani means जो अपने आप को विमुक्त मानता है पर सच में विमुक्त नहीं है. He thinks he is liberated, but he is not liberated. So Vimukta Maninaha Tvai Astabhavat means their bhav in you has set. Asta means Astamanam. Astamanam means setting, just like we say Surya Astamanam, the sunset. So just like when the sunset happens, the sun disappears from our vision. The bhav towards Bhagavan disappears when we think of Bhagavan like that. If we think Bhagavan is imaginary and his forms are imaginary, etc., then whatever bhakti we did in order to go towards that mukti, that goes away because you're no longer regarding Bhagavan the way that you understood earlier. You only thought it is just an imagination. So, astabhavaha, avishuddha buddhaya, avishuddhi means not vishuddhi, avishuddha, opposite of vishuddha. Avishuddha buddhaya, so for them, astabhavaha, their bhakti towards Bhagavan is set, means it's gone. Aruhya krichrena means they have ascended the stage of, they've ascended, means they've gone to the stage of liberation with great difficulty. Krichrena parampadam, at great stage. Tataha patanti means they fall down. Patanti, adaha patanti, they fall down. Anadrita yushmadangraya. They have disrespected your feet, your lotus feet, your lotus like feet. They have disrespected and therefore they fall down. And therefore, this is wrong. So this shloka is cited very often by so many scholars, including Vishwanath Chakravarti, Sanatana Goswami. This shloka is there to point out that bhakti is not something temporary. It is not something to be done only for getting mukti. Bhakti is an eternal state of existence, the state of perfection. तथा न ते माधव तावकः क्वचित् पश्यन्ति मार्गात् त्वयि बद्धसौहृदाः त्वय्याभिगुप्ता विचरन्ति निर्भया विनायकानीकपमूर्धसु प्रभो. Now this shloka contrasts the people explained in the last shloka with the bhaktas. So he says, your bhaktas, however, are not like this. He's referring to, they are referring to Krishna as Madhava. Krishna gets this name Madhava because he's a descendant of King Madhu. There was a king called Madhu in the Yadu dynasty. So he's just like he's called Yadava, he's also called Madhava, descendant of Madhu. And it says that your bhaktas, they don't have to worry because they will not perish. They understand you through bhakti, they understand you correctly, and they are intimately bound to you. And because of that, you protect them. Twayi abhiguptaha. Abhigupta means abhiguptaha. Abhigupta means one who is protected. The bhaktas are protected by Bhagavan. So their bhakti receives his protection, his guidance, and so on. So vicharanti nirbhayaha. They do not have any fear. Okay, last class we spoke about Prahalad as an example of a person who had no fear. We also spoke about the Pandavas, Draupadi, etc. Even though they went through enormous amount of difficulty, they could cope with it because they could see Bhagavan everywhere. And in that bhakti, in that stage of bhakti, doing all their activities in that stage, they were completely free from fear. So that last line is very poetically composed. It says, Vinayaka Anikapa Murdhasu. Means, he says, Vinayakaha means, here Vinayaka doesn't refer to Lord Ganesha, it refers to difficulties, hordes of difficulties. So Vinayaka Anika. Anika means army, armies of obstacles, armies or hordes of obstacles. Palakaha means the kings or the guardians of these armies of obstacles. So it's an imaginary abstract construction. So as if the obstacles are an army and there is a king for them. So Murdhasu, on the heads of those kings. So Tvaya Abhiguptaha Vinayaka Anikapa Murdhasu Vicharanti. So these bhaktas, because they are protected by you, they walk on the heads of the kings of the armies of these obstacles. Okay, it's a very poetic composition. Nirbhayaha means fearlessly. So effectively what he is saying is that they are not affected by any fearful situation. Fearful situations come to us in life. Fearful situations keep coming to us. Okay, we cannot permanently resolve them. We can resolve them for the moment. A fearful situation comes, something wrong is going to happen, or somebody is blaming us for something we did not do, or we made a mistake and somebody is over punishing us, over accusing us more than what we need to be, held responsible for. So difficulties come, or something fails in our business, something does not go well in our personal life, our child is not doing well in the school, or somebody in the family has a disease. Obstacles and difficulties keep coming to us. Now, the bhaktas, all of us, we go through these situations and they will not stop. This world is like that. They keep coming and going. So the bhaktas are able to cope with it. They're able to see beyond the obstacle. They're able to see that everything is inside Bhagavan. They're able to see that Bhagavan is protecting and guiding us in whatever we do. And so their mind is peaceful. That's exactly what it means. That they wander fearlessly on the heads of the guardians of the hordes of obstacles. So beautifully composed shloka, which contrasts the saintly people described in the last shloka, who are actually people who did a lot of difficulty. Through a lot of difficulty, they reached a position close to that of liberation, but then they fall down from there because of offense. So in Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's Bhagavad-Gita commentary, he again slides the previous shloka, and he there explains there are four types of people. Two of them are, he says, people who fall down, and two others, even if they are following the Jnana Marga, because they take refuge in bhakti and they realize that bhakti is eternal, even after liberation, bhakti is to be done. And Sri Bhagavan and his qualities are not imaginary, they're actually eternally existing. So even though they may not become like the bhaktas described here, they still respect bhakti and they respect the bhaktas. They remain as jnanis, but they don't fall down. They remain protected. So bhakti is never to be disrespected. Bhaktas and bhakti is never to be disrespected. Sattvam vishuddham shrayate bhavan stithau sharirinam shreya upayanam vapuhu वेदक्रियायोगतपःसमाधिभिः तवार्हणं येन जनः समीहते. He says that you come to this world, he's addressing Bhagwan. He says, you come to this world, and even though this world is impure, you are not impure. You are beyond this Maya. This world is influenced or under the supervision or the effect of Maya, but you are beyond that. You are pure. Your own Vishuddha Sattva is always with you, and you are in that state. And you come in that state and you remain in that state even when you manifest yourself to us. And he says that uh, the bhaktas, what they do, here not the bhaktas here. It refers to people in general. People in general, the sadhakas who try to attain you in different ways. They take refuge in the Veda. The Veda is the supreme pramana. Then through Veda, they perform different activities, kriya, their karma, and tapaha. Tapaha means different types of tapasya, austerities, dhyana, meditation, samadhi, and then bhakti also. So they perform all these different things, and because of your manifestation like this, it stimulates them to do all these things. If you never manifested yourself, then people would not have some anchor on which they can motivate themselves to do these activities. Suppose you remained completely aloof and only some instructions were available, people would not have so much conviction in them. But you appear, you perform different activities, your manifestation inspires people to do these things, and that is why you come. Sattvam न चेद्धातर idam nijam bhavet. Sattvam न चेद्धातरिदं निजं भवेद्. विज्ञानमज्ञानविधापमार्जनं गुणप्रकाशैरनुमीयते भवान्. प्रकाशते यस्य च येन वा गुणः. So this is a continuation of the previous shloka. It says, just like this, because you come, your factual experience and realization is possible. People now have something to talk about and learn about you. For example, now this Bhagavatam is written. Because you came, there is a possibility of writing something about you. Similarly, Mahabharata describes so many activities of you, and there's so many Puranas and so on. So now people have something to talk about. Then they can fix their mind on you. You give a scope for that. Scope for that is created. Otherwise, without that, such a thing would not be possible. And then your existence can be inferred only by logic. Gunaprakashaihi anumiyate bhavan. Prakashate yasya cha yena va gunaha. According to their own qualities, people will then interpret because they will see this world, and some people by logical inference will say that this world, just like the argument in the Western philosophy, there's an argument called the watchmaker's argument. People argue, they may not know what is in these Puranas and so on. So they build an argument about the existence of God by saying that look at a watch. A watch is such a fine device. It's got so many things in it and it works perfectly. It tells us the time without fail, non-stop. It goes on, it just goes on running. So such a watch did not come accidentally. There was not some big bang and the watch came. If there was a big explosion, no watch will get created out of that, right? A watch was created by an intelligent designer. There was an intelligent personality or intelligent personalities got together and they put their minds together and then they designed the different components of the watch. The whole idea of how all those components work together and show the time, that was figured out by them, and then people got together and manufactured it. So intelligent, conscious beings have designed it. In the same way, this universe is working in a perfect way. There's so many planetary bodies, there's so many laws. All these laws operate in sync, and we experience, for example, we experience the sunset, the sunrise, the seasons. Everything happens on schedule. Okay, there is some variation, of course, but even with the variation, around that variation, everything goes on perfectly. So that this cannot be possible if there was no intelligent personality. Okay, so this is a logical argument given by philosophers to say that God exists. Okay, so similarly, if Sri Bhagavan himself did not manifest, but just allowed us to experience this universe and the different phenomena we go through all the laws that are working in this universe, then we would only infer. It would be possible to infer about God and infer that there must be some God like that. and he must be having these kind of qualities. He or it or she, it must be having some qualities like this. So there is some creator. That's the only thing that's possible. But you don't want that to happen, merely that to happen. You want us to know about you, but you want us to know about you thoroughly. You want us to know about all your properties, your wonderful activities, and the love, and want us to feel that love. And that is why you yourself come and create a scope, create the path for us to factually realize you. न नामरूपे गुणजन्मकर्मभिः निरूपितव्ये तव तस्य साक्षिणः मनोवचोभ्याम् अनुमेयवर्त्मनो देवक्रियायां प्रतियन्त्यथापि हि. So again, continuing from the previous one, so three shlokas in a sync. So here he says that uh, because there are so many things to know about you, like your names, the Shakti in your names are not different from you. You manifest yourself in your name. Similarly, your beautiful form, it's not just some imaginary thing, it's real, it's eternal. Similarly, your qualities, there's so many qualities. And just by knowing all these things and through the process of logical inference, one cannot really know you. But they have to actually perform bhakti, they have to understand bhakti. And therefore, not leaving people to just depend on logical thinking and logical reasoning based on some information. You want us to have your direct experience, and you want us to practice bhakti. And that is why you come. And that is why the bhaktas, because you have said in the Bhagavad Gita, भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान् यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्. So Bhagavad Gita says that one can know Bhagavan, God, only by the practice of bhakti. Only through bhakti one can really know Bhagavan in truth. The other forms of yoga like karma, jnana, etc., they allow us to sense Bhagavan. They allow us to go towards Bhagavan and reach a very pure stage from which it is possible to know Bhagavan. But to really know Bhagavan in truth, one should perform bhakti. And so here again, this you can see this last line here. Deva kriyayam pratiyanti athapi. This points to bhakti. It says because of that reason, because only by logical reasoning it's not possible to know you. Bhakti is performed, and people perform bhakti such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. शृण्वन् गृणन् संस्मरयंश्च चिन्तयन् नामानि रूपाणि च मङ्गलानि ते क्रियासु यस्त्वच्चरणारविन्दयोर् आविष्टचेता न bhavaya kalpate. So now bhakti is described. So how is bhakti done? By hearing Shrinvan, narrating Grinan, Samsmarayan means by thinking about and making others think about. Samsmarayan, Chintayan, Namani Rupani cha Mangalani means your names, your forms, very auspicious forms. Priyasu Yatvat Charanaravindayoho, those who have engaging, those who are performing all the different activities of life by constantly remembering or while constantly remembering your lotus like feet. Okay, so they will not experience material existence. So you can see how in the beginning of the stuti, the description of material existence was there. And now here he says that because of bhakti, there is complete transcendence, going beyond the experience of material existence. This bhava, the word bhava means samsara. Bhava and samsara mean the same thing. Samsara means material existence. So avishta cheta, those whose consciousness is fully absorbed in all these things, thinking about you, your qualities, your nature, your love, your kindness, what you want from us, everything, understanding everything, and relishing that, material existence becomes redundant or it becomes invisible. दिष्ट्या हरेस्या भवतः पदो भुवो भारोपनीतस्तव जन्मनेशितुः दिष्ट्याङ्कितां त्वत् पदकैः शुशोभनैर्द्रक्ष्यामगां च तवानुकम्पिताम्. He says now that it's our good fortune that you have come. Dishtya means by our good fortune, by our good luck. Uh, this this Bhumi who is now because of whom you have come, whose prayers brought you here. She actually is going to be relieved. She's feeling very good that you're going to take birth on her, and By that same good fortune, we are going to see your footsteps very shortly. We know that you will be appearing and you will be walking on this earth. So you will leave your footsteps here. Ankitam Tvat Padakaihi, your footmarks. Okay, so it is described that a great personality like Bhagavan or a Shaktyavesh avatar, a Jivatma who is given the Shakti of Bhagavan, when they come, their feet and their hands, etc., there are marks. There are like the mark of a conch, Shanka, Chakra, sign of a chakra, or a Padma, lotus flower, a Danda, and so on, a flag, right? Dvaja. These kind of symbols are on the hands and the feet. It's described in the different shastra, specifically what kind of symbols. So one way in which Bhagavan is identified is by looking at the footsteps. Just like in the wildlife, the people who study wildlife, okay, when they go to the forests, when they see some footmarks, they're able to identify that a particular species of animal has been here, like a tiger's pug marks, or the footmarks of a bear, or a deer. Okay, they can look at the marks of the hoof marks of a deer and say, okay, a deer has gone here, an elephant has gone here. In the same way, by looking at certain footmarks, we can say Sri Bhagavan has walked here because his footmarks are very distinct from the human being's footmarks. So they are referring to that. They are saying that you are very charming footsteps. But padakaihi sushobhanaihi. Sushobhanaihi means very beautiful footsteps, not ordinary footsteps. They will be visible on this earth very soon. And both this earth and the Svargaloka, which has been shaken by the activities of the Daityas, tva anukampitam, dhyam. Dhya refers to Svargaloka, heaven, and Ga refers to earth. Ga and Dhya, both. Both will be relieved because of your presence here. न ते अभवस्येष भवस्य कारणं विना विनोदं बत तर्कयामहे भवो निरोधः स्थितिरप्यविद्यया कृता यतस्त्वय्यभयाश्रयात्मनि. So he says that you're actually unborn. There is no birth for you. You don't actually take birth like we take birth, like the living beings take birth. We go through the karma, the process of karma, right? We are controlled by the karma we do. We do something good, then that determines our future birth in an existence which is filled with some happiness. We do something bad, then that determines our existence in some situation which is not so good. So karma phala decides the existence of the jivatmas in this samsara. So that is why it's called janma. Means it actually sets forth existence based on what happened in the past. But Sri Bhagavan doesn't come like that. He is not bound by karma. It's by his own ichha that he comes, by his own will, free will. So he's abhavaha, means he has no birth. He's abhavaha, but he comes in bhava. He becomes manifest. So he's not born. Ajo api sanna avyayatma, Bhagavad-gita, 4th chapter. Ajo api sanna avyayatma, bhutanam ishwaropi sanna, prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. So even though I am not born, I don't have a birth, I still appear by my own energy, by my own atma maya, by my own yoga maya, I take birth in this. So here, this shloka says that vina vinodam badadarkayamani. That is, we cannot find any reason for your coming here other than your own vinoda. Vinoda means what? Vinoda means for your own pastime or for your own pleasure, for your own recreation. For you, coming here is not some big project. It's not like you're sent on some assignment by somebody, you have to resolve something. You come here because you enjoy doing it for your own pleasure. It's like somebody goes to a resort. Okay, why do people go to a resort or they go to a very scenic spot? They go because they just want to get away from normal work and they want to have good, pleasure. They want to feel pleasure. They want to have a good time there. So here, of course, Bhagavan is not trying to get away from some troublesome situation because he is never in a troublesome situation. He's always situated in bliss, but he comes here also in the same bliss. And he comes here because he enjoys doing that. He comes, enjoys doing and showing his love to others. Bhavaha nirodha sthitihi api avidyaya krita yataha tvai abhayashrayatmani. Because all these things are created by Maya only. And it's your Maya which is creating all this. And that Maya doesn't act upon you, it acts upon the living beings. So in their stuti, they describe all this. मत्स्याश्वकच्छप नृसिंह वराह हंस राजन्य विप्र विबुधेषु कृतावतारः त्वं पासिनस्त्रिभुवनं च यथाधुनेश भारं भुवो हरयदुत्तमवन्दनं ते. So now they describe the different forms like Matsya, Hayagriva, Kurma, Nrisimha, Varaha, Hamsa, Rama, Parashurama, Vamana. The first two lines describe the various avatars. There are so many avatars in which he comes, right? In our school or in colloquial, in public information, we say there are 10 avatars of Vishnu. Okay? This list of 10 avatars that are commonly listed in general knowledge books and then comics and so on. This is just one compilation, a list which comes from a particular song or a particular stuti written by a great saint by name Jayadeva. There was a saint by name Jayadeva Goswami who lived a few hundred years back in Odisha. And he compiled this thing called Dashavatara Stotra, in which he described a list of 10 avatars of Vishnu. In those 10, Balarama and Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is not described as an avatar because he is the source of the avatar. Keshavadhrita Haladhara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So Haladhara, for the eighth avatar there is not Krishna, it is Balarama. But today it is made Krishna in the lists here. Whatever it is, it's not just 10. Vishnu doesn't have 10, just 10 avatars. He has infinite avatars, Anantaha. Anantaha vai Rupaha and Anantaha vai Avataraha. Just like the waves in an ocean. It is described in the Shastra. They're just like waves in an ocean. They are not countable. Can anybody stand and count how many waves came? No, because all over across the shore itself is so long, thousands of kilometers, and waves are coming all the time, 24 hours, non-stop, never stops, right? In the same way, Bhagavan's avatars never stop. And in this shloka, you can see a few avatars are listed, described: Matsya, Hayagriva, Kurma, Nrsimha, Varaha, Hamsa, Rama, Parashurama, Vamana. So 9 avatars are described here. And in those 9, there is only a partial overlap with the other 10, right? Like Hayagriva is not mentioned by Jayadeva, Hamsa is not mentioned. Uh, yeah. So, like this, some more are mentioned. So, in different places in the Puranas, different names of different avatars and their activities are described. So, in this shloka, he just mentions these names of a few of them. And then he says that you come here because you want to protect us and to relieve Bhumi of our burden and not for any other reason. So, we bow down to you. Then they turn to Devaki, Mother Devaki. Now they are praying to Krishna in her womb, and now after doing that, they are now praying to uh, Mother Devaki. It says, Dishtyambate kukshigataf paraf puman amshena sakshat bhagavan amshena sakshat bhagavan bhavayanah ma bhud ma bhud bhayam bhoja pater mumursho gopta yadunam bhavita tavatmajah. So they are giving her, they're so happy. So they are pacifying her because she has been through enormous amount of difficulty. Her first 6 children have been killed by Kamsa brutally. Just imagine any woman, every child which is born. Of course, in earlier times we used to have what is called as infant mortality. As soon as the infant is born, then nobody knows whether it will survive. After some time, it may die, and so many children would die. Sometimes the mother also would die when the child is born. And more recently, with modern medicine and so on, some amount of infant mortality has been controlled, and that has become much less today than earlier. But just imagine Devaki's situation. The infant is not dying by itself. Her own brother comes there immediately after the child is born. And instead of celebrating, so what does a brother do normally? If a woman's brother, knows that his sister has given birth to a child, the brother will be so happy, and they will celebrate. The whole family and relatives and friends and everybody will celebrate the child is born. Instead, the brother comes there, takes the baby away and kills it, and then he's waiting for the next baby to be born. So a murderer is her brother, and 6 children have got murdered like that. The seventh one was never born. It became a miscarriage in the perception of the public. Of course, she might be knowing what happened, But for her also, that child never took birth. It never came out as a baby, right? It just vanished. And now the eighth one has come, and this one also may meet the same fate. Who knows? So the devas are, they know what is going to happen, right? They know that now Vishnu himself has come, Krishna himself has come, and he's come. He is not going to be killed. So they know that, and therefore they are consoling her. They say that, don't worry, oh mother, you're so fortunate because now it's not some ordinary child which has come. Sri Bhagavan has come, of whom Vishnu is just an expansion, right? Parafpuman Amshena means that Parafpuman is an Amsha of what has come into your womb. And let there be no fear of Kamsa. Now you can be very fearless. This time it will not happen. Whatever happened will not happen again. Because this person, he has actually scripted his own death. He is Mumurshaha. Mumurshuhu. Mumurshuhu means what? One who wishes to die. Mrityum ichchati. Mrityoho ichcha mumursha. So this person is sort of invoked his own death. Okay, that's what it means. It's like sometimes, in India, in somebody in a situation of road rage. Okay, someone drives rashly and the other person will shout at him. Okay, have you told at your home that you will not come back? Okay, in colloquial language. So that kind of thing. So they are saying Kamsa has decided that he wants to die. That's why he has done all these wrong things. So he desires to die, but you are safe, and he is going to die. Your son will be the protector of the entire Yadu dynasty. Don't worry about it. Sri Shuka Uvacha. Now Shuka Muni, who is speaking all this to Parikshit, he concludes the stuti. He says, Ityavishtuya Purusham Yadrupamanidam Yatha Brahmeshanau Purodhaya Devav Pratiyayurdivam. So after offering all their prayers in this manner to that Supreme Purusha, whose form is beyond this existence, who is not part of this idam, means not part of this existence. So such a personality, after offering all their stuti, they returned to their kingdom or their abode, heavenly abode. And Brahma and Shiva were in the front. So Brahma and Shiva were in the front when they offered prayers, while returning also, they were in the front. And the Devas and the other sages, they followed them. And the stuti was over. Okay, and with this shloka, the second chapter of the Dashama Skanda also concludes. And we heard, the stuti, we heard 15 shlokas of stuti, followed by two shlokas of conclusion. And here we reflect on what is the purpose of stuti. Like we said in the beginning of today's class, stuti or praise of God is very different from asking for relief from trouble. Of course, first of all, we should know the stuti is not at all ordinary praise that is done in this world. Okay, normally the word praise sometimes puts people off because praise in this world is often done in a deceptive manner. It is not done genuinely. A lot of praise is not genuine. A lot of praise is deceptive. It's duplicitous. It is done just to get something from the other person, to please the other person for the sake of business or for the sake of getting some favors. Sometimes students come to a teacher and they talk in a very praising tone, hoping that the teacher will be kind to them when the teacher sets the exam paper or grades them. And teachers also realize this after some time. They know that's why the student is speaking like this. Similarly, even in a family, the son may speak to the father in a very polite and, hoping that the father will give some money when the child wants it. He wants some money for, buying something or whatever. So this way, a lot of praise that is done is very non-genuine. It is done because something in return is expected. But praise of God is not meant to be like that. When we praise God, we praise for a much higher purpose. So, what is the purpose? It's very different for asking for something in return or asking for relief from trouble. It is a means to connect with Bhagavan. It's a means to converse with Him and to connect deeply. You see, when we looked at the shlokas here, the kind of meanings they evoked, he talked about the qualities of Bhagavan, the attributes of Bhagavan, what kind of things he does, what his bhaktas do, how he is attained, etc. Right? It's about filling ourselves and elevating ourselves to a divine consciousness. So that deep connection with Bhagavan comes, and it involves an acknowledgement. Stuti is not just false praise; it's an acknowledgement. See the word acknowledgement. You can see I've highlighted a subset of that word. Within the word acknowledgement is knowledge. Acknowledgement is not something like a blind acceptance. a blind, irrational acceptance of something based on just some faith. No, it's actually an acknowledgement based on knowledge. Acknowledgement is based in knowledge. Acknowledgement of what? Of God's nature, of Sri Bhagavan's qualities, his wonderful, beautiful activities, his form, his appearance, his likes. What does he like? What does he dislike? It's knowledge of all of that. That is the acknowledgement that is present in Stuti. It's a sincere expression, not a duplicitous expression. It is not sycophantic in nature. There's no sycophancy in Stuti. It is a sincere and genuine expression of appreciation, of gratitude, of respect, and it's done without any falsity. It's a reinforcement of the relationship. So every day when we do Stuti, we reinforce that connection between ourselves and Bhagavan, that Bhagavan who is present inside us. So the question comes then, why does God accept stuti? Does he want it? Is he craving for it? Okay, in this world, people crave for stuti. Okay, you see, people very happy when somebody praises them because they are craving. The heart wants that. Material existence means people want others to glorify them, to praise them. So is God also like that? Is he craving for our stuti? Is that the reason he comes here and gives us all this? Absolutely not. What he wants is that we should benefit. He comes purely out of that concern that we should benefit and we should elevate ourselves. We should become free from suffering. And that is possible only in his realization, only in realizing him. And that is why he accepts it. He accepts Stuti because we benefit, because it takes us from our conception of me, mine, etc., our self conception, our ahankara, to divine conception, to knowing our own divine nature and knowing his divine nature. It connects us to him. And it connects us to his knowledge, him as a source of knowledge, as a source of strength. That is why connecting with Bhagavan gives us strength, because he is a source of strength. Okay, it is just like this. Suppose I want to charge my mobile phone. How do I charge my mobile phone? I need the charge, right? Without charge, the mobile phone will not work. So how do I charge it? I plug it into a power socket. What is the power socket? The power socket is the source of infinite electrical energy. When I say infinite, what I mean is infinite compared to what my mobile phone requires. But mobile phone requires a small drop of that enormous energy which is coming from the source of that electrical energy, which is some thermal reactor or whatever. Some power station is supplying energy. That may be finite, but as far as I'm concerned, it is infinite because it is what I require from it is just a little bit of energy to charge my phone. But with that little bit of energy, my mobile phone can do magic for me. So many different things my mobile phone can do for me. In the same manner, when we connect with that infinite source of energy, which is God, then that little drop of strength that we get from that person, we don't have to get all the infinite strength that he has. Just that little drop of strength which comes by connecting with that person makes us feel that we are infinitely strong. It gives us that kind of strength. Exactly in the same way, that kindness, the kindness that he has in him comes to us. We become kind. That beauty that he has in him comes to us. Just like we saw Devaki. Devaki, her appearance became very beautiful when he started manifesting inside her. She was already very beautiful, but it became enormously more when that happened. And love, the feeling of love. And connecting with God destroys fear, it destroys darkness, destroys pessimism, it destroys dullness, destroys hatred. It infuses confidence, it infuses optimism, it infuses clarity, it infuses creativity, it infuses love. So all the negativity is removed and positivity comes inside us. And therefore, it makes us strong, it makes us resilient. Resilient means what? Resilience is that property by which we are able to bounce back from a difficult situation. That's called resilience. So it makes us resilient, it makes us wise, it makes us capable of taking good decisions at the appropriate times. And a side effect of all of this is not the purpose of doing bhakti, or it's not the purpose of doing connecting with God, or purpose of doing stuti. The side effect is it makes us very peaceful, makes us very calm, right? Fills our mind with peace and lack of disturbance. So stuti therefore is not a praise, is not an act of helplessness. It's an act of wisdom. It's not that when somebody is in trouble they should perform stuti. When stuti is performed, then even when trouble comes, one knows how to cope with it, and one continues to perform stuti. It's an act of wisdom. It's an act of strength. It's not an act of helplessness. It's important to understand this because many people think that bhakti is performed when nothing else works. When there is complete failure in somebody's life, they turn to bhakti. Although that may be true, that people turn to bhakti only when there is failure in their life. That may be true in many cases, but that's not the way it is meant to be. Bhakti is the forte of the wise people. So it is not an act of helplessness. So then the question comes, how do I integrate Stuti into my daily life? And we will look at some simple things that most simple thing is Shravanam, listening, or Shloka recitation, Kirtanam. Shravanam and Kirtanam are the two fundamental ways of practicing Stuti. Okay, so one way we can do Shravanam is to listen to somebody else reciting shlokas. For example, if you go to YouTube and then you search on, let's say, Vishnu Sahasranam, so you will get some 10 videos of different singers or different expert, you know, people who know how to chant well, like Subbu Lakshmi or somebody else. They are chanting, they are doing recitation of Vishnu Sahasranam. Similarly, you put Rig Veda, so you'll get a lot of videos where Rig Veda is being chanted. You put something else, you will get that thing. So you can listen to people chanting. Either you can listen to on YouTube, or you can go to a place like in a temple, you'll hear people chanting there, or in some group where people perform bhajan, you can go there and listen to it. Kirtanam is when we ourselves do it. We ourselves recite shlokas or we sing and we listen to what we recite. Uh, of course, a different form of all this is japa. Japa is a very specialized activity and it's considered the greatest form of worship. Japa yajnanam japa yajñosmi, Bhagavad-Gita says. Among all different types of worship or yajna, japa is the most powerful or the most supreme form. So, what is japa? Japa is the silent chanting of the name with counting. Count and commit yourself that I will chant at least 108 times a particular mantra. Mantra is normally given to us by our guru. So, we commit to this and we sit in the morning in a very clean place with a calm mind and we do japa, listen to that name. The name of Bhagavan, Nama, is the same as Bhagavan. It's not different from him. So, keeping that understanding at the back of our mind, we do japa and we experience Bhagavan at that time. So, japa is a very powerful way to practice stuti. And accompanying that is a lifestyle. Okay, so stuti is a practice, but the practice is supported or it is nourished when we have a sattvic lifestyle. Sattvic life is very important if we want to go towards God, because God is Vishuddha Sattva. He's in Vishuddha Sattva. So we should be as sattvic as possible. How can we do that? The first step is to be very clean. Cleanliness begins with the mind, not in the bathroom. Okay, bathroom also is required, but before we go to the bathroom, the mind should be clean. So, mind is clean means it is free from all thoughts, thoughts of anger, jealousy against others, anger, jealousy, greed, um, all kinds of negative thoughts. Remove those thoughts by, thinking that I want to now go towards Bhagavan, and there's no place for a mind like that. So even before we go to the bathroom and clean our body, that is external cleanliness. Internal cleanliness is important. So cleanliness is the first step of a sattvic lifestyle, and then diet, what we put inside us, the inputs we put, they determine the outputs, right? So a pure vegetarian diet, no onion, no garlic, no eggs, mushrooms, etc. Keep all that away. Even tea and coffee are not considered to be sattvic. If possible, avoid them also and become pure vegetarian. Food which is sattvic is food which has a high water content, very high water content food, like fresh vegetables, fruits, or freshly cooked rice, chapati, dal, puri. You see, the same chapati which is freshly cooked has a very high water content. But the same chapati, if you leave it for say 6 hours, it becomes dry, right? Its water gets vaporized, it goes away. Water is gone, and it becomes dry. Similarly, rice, freshly cooked rice has a high water content. It is soft. It is nice to have, but after say 6 hours the same rice you can have it, but it's no longer as fresh as that. The water content has decreased. So when water content is high, the sattvikata is more. Similarly, physical exercise is very important. Vyayam is very important, particularly in today's lifestyle. Earlier people, by their not normal way of living, even if they didn't think of exercise, they were actually being doing exercise. They didn't have to specially perform any fitness activity. But today, Extremely important to devote time for physical exercise in a systematic manner. If you want any advice on that, I can also offer. But YouTube, of course, is full of a lot of videos, so you can subscribe to any one particular way of doing it and do it. And of course, very important to sleep, right? So very good for sattvic, or I say essential for sattvic lifestyle is good sleep. Everybody requires sleep. Sleep is something that cannot be compromised, because it's only in sleep that actual growth happens. Growth or strength does not come in exercise. It comes when you sleep or when you rest. Exercise actually breaks our muscles. It prepares the ground for growth. Exercise prepares the ground for growth. Sleep actually makes the growth happen. The growth happens in sleep. It provides the energy, or the provides the context for growth to happen. So sleep is extremely important. So with these words, we have gone through the meaning of stuti. We have heard the devas stuti to Krishna, and we've also reflected on the purpose of stuti, how it is done, etc. And it's something that we can easily incorporate into our life and immediately experience the benefits. I would encourage all of you to do that. And for today, I will stop with these words. I will look forward to your questions, comments, etc. Let me first unmute all of you. I'll also turn on the video panel here so I can see you if you are speaking. Yes, I'll be happy to have any question from you, any comments that you want to say, or share any realizations. Anything you want to share, please feel free to share. Yes, somebody has raised their hand. Ashita, yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ashita.
Sir, by physical exercise, do we mean yoga in this context or any kind of exercise?
Well,
Like going for a walk or Zumba or maybe weight training or maybe mix of everything?
I mean any kind of exercise in general where there is mobility. Our arms, our different muscles, different parts of our body are moving, are made mobile. So, in general, any kind of exercise. Of course, within them, yoga is a very good exercise. Yoga is a very good system of exercise because it directly takes us towards something very sattvic. But depending on our preferences, any other exercise like walking or even slow running, anything, any kind of exercise is very good, because exercise, beyond its effect on the body, has immediate positive effect on the mind. Immediately, you don't have to wait. Body may take some time to respond. Means when you do exercise, immediately you don't see a change in your body. But even if you do exercise just one day, if you go for a nice long walk, immediately you feel the relief in your mind, isn't it? Everybody knows this. So that's why exercise is both for the body and the mind. And any form of exercise can do this when it is done properly. So it could be even exercise in the form of a sport. You're playing a game. You take a friend and go to the badminton court and play badminton, right? In your case, it's right next to your hostel. So go play badminton or go to the futsal court and just throw some ball at each other. Throw a ball at your friend and let the ball come back. Just catch the ball. That's enough. Even as some simple as that. You don't have to think of the rules of the game and so on. Just do it for half an hour, and at the end of it, you feel good. You're sweated, you feel so good. You come back and take a bath. So exercise is absolute must for someone who wants to become sattvic. Absolute must.
Thank you, sir.
Others, feel free to ask anything that comes to your mind. Nothing? No other question for today? If there's no other question, we can then close early today. Okay, Sarthak has a question. Sarthak, yes?
Pranam sir, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Sir, in one of the names of the avatars, Hamsa avatar was also talked about.
Yeah,
So that we have not generally heard in the
yeah,
parlance that way. So if you could elaborate a little about what
yeah,
is this Leela?
yeah. I've read about Hamsa Avatar very long back, so I will read it again and come back to you in a future class. I'm not able to recollect all the details. Hamsa, of course, means a swan, so he comes in the form of a swan, but I will narrate that in some future class.
So, sir, in our tradition, the Hamsa is accorded high respect also because of its said ability of a highly sophisticated faculty of discrimination.
Yeah,
So it knows the difference between Sat and Asat.
yes.
So is it? I mean, is it does it refer to that avatar, or is it a general what to say? General categorization of Hamsa that okay, there is a being as Hamsa and they show this, not just this particular avatar. Is it something like
No,
that?
here it refers to Sri Bhagavan's Vishnu's avatar as Hamsa. But yes, the general use of the word Hamsa as a being which has high discrimination, the swan. Now, it is said somewhere. I have to verify this in from the modern science perspective too. But in our Indian knowledge system, there is an understanding that there is a particular kind of Hamsa that can discriminate between milk and water. So, if you give it a glass of milk combined with water, it can drink only the milk and leave the water. It's able to discriminate between milk and water, separate milk from water. Now, I have to verify if all the swans, the species that we know as swan today, whether it can do that or not. I don't know. Because in modern biology or anything, we don't hear such a thing. But there is some species described in our Puranas like that. So the word Paramahamsa is used for the saintly people. Saintly people are like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, we say, or any other. Many saints are called by Yogananda Paramahamsa, right? So, so it's like this Paramhamsa is used for a saintly person because a saintly person is one who has developed the discrimination between the right and the wrong, between the Sat and the Asat. So that is why he is called a Hamsa. This discrimination is there. But here it refers to Vishnu's specific avatar, not a saintly person in general.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Anybody else wants to say anything? Okay. There's nothing further, then we will close for today. And I once again would encourage all of you to do stuti daily. It's also important to have Ishta Devata, means there's one particular form of the deity. Okay, that particular form we worship, and to that particular form we do our stuti on a daily basis, maybe once a day or twice a day, depending on our personal life. We can decide how to do it, either as shlokas, as song, or as japa in whatever form, right? And if you want to discuss this separately with me, then feel free to do so. So with these words, I will close for today, and we will do the Antya Mangalam. I would urge you to chant the Hare Krishna mantra along with me. ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे धन्यवादाः पुनर्मिलामः